So I've been going through the 8 verses of thought transformation by Longri Thampa, I think it's pronounced, a Tibetan master born in 1054, died in 1123. So it's so interesting, isn't it, that these verses are so applicable to now, to my mind now. The Tibetans knew minds, didn't they? Gosh. Anyhow, it's lovely. So I've been talking a little bit about how I've worked with these verses over the years, and today I'll talk about verse number 5. I'll read it first. When someone I have benefited and in whom I have placed great trust hurts me very badly, I will practice seeing that person as my supreme teacher. So when someone has benefited me, I've been conditioned to think that now I need to reciprocate. So it becomes transactional. That's kind of how I was conditioned. That's kind of how it seems like it goes. So that kind of thinking really puts the big thing of feeling disappointed and that it's unfair if people don't come through for whatever reason. So it's like I'm setting myself up for I'll give you, you give me, and that's kind of not how things work very well. And then on top of that, if we think about somebody that hurts me very badly, then, that's really a deep cut if you think this way. So, of course, thinking about this in a different way is what we are trying to do, transform how we think about things. And so, if I didn't have these experiences, I wouldn't be able to learn about the misery of attachment and these unrealistic expectations, which cause so much pain, really. In the past, when I had this idea of, I do something for you, you'll do something for me, I can expect that. So these unrealistic expectations, and then feeling disappointed, then I would ruminate about it over and over again. I don't ever want to know how many minutes that was, or hours, or days, or months, or years. A lot, I think. And just ruminating about the unfairness of the situation and how they destroyed my trust, how they destroyed my trust. Yeah. And of course, the only way to free ourselves from this pain and anger is through forgiveness. And so forgiveness doesn't mean that we condone the other person's action. It means that we're tired of being hurt and angry, and we're releasing these emotions because they're making us miserable. So forgiveness starts and is here, really. And so the easiest way to do this, which the author of this beautiful text says, is to practice seeing the person as our teacher of fortitude. And so fortitude is an interesting thing to think about. I think everybody has different kinds of fortitude, and it's helpful to kind of identify what mine are. It has been, helpful to identify. I think that's helpful for us to see. Some things I'm kind of I was going to use a word that's not so good. I'm kind of a chicken. I'll put that word there. And hard to do. Other things, I can bear things for really a long time. Let's see, what's an example? An example is if a person is bleeding and in misery and needs help, I am so easy with that, no problem. If it's an animal, that is really hard for me. Who knows why, but that's what it is, you know. For an animal to be suffering, ooh, that's difficult. But, you know, I mean, I can bear it, but my gosh, it's hard. So, you know, we all have different ways of being and, you know, how we respond to different things. But this thing about fortitude, you know, if you put it in the bigger picture, if I can grow my fortitude with everything, I'm getting a vaster mind. I'm going to be able to deal with whatever comes forward. I'm going to be able to deal with all kinds of folks, all kinds of people. And so now I'm building this ability to help more and more and more people, I think, you know. Of course, it depends on the motivation, the intention, but fortitude is a really good thing. I think fortitude also, if we're not flexible at all and we're really self-centered and it's got to be this way, then it's hard to have much fortitude. But if I can let go and just accept what is, and oftentimes it's painful, then that's easier. So we have to get ourselves out of the way, kind of, to develop fortitude, I think. So when we feel the pain due to betrayal of trust, it's really helpful to reflect on, in the past, I've behaved in a way toward others in this, you know, same way, and so it's coming back around to me now. Instead of getting angry at the person, look at what kind of karma I created that this is arising right now. And that, you know, that's humble pie, isn't it? It takes, you know, to be humble to see that, I think, at least for me. So accepting the situation, forgiving the other person, working on making ourselves more reliable and trustworthy is very beneficial then. So the love and compassion that a bodhisattva practices developing embraces all living beings without any exceptions. All. And this requires us to feel close to them all. So then the question in my mind always becomes like, how do we feel close to those we have labeled enemy? That's not going to work, yeah? Unless we can love and feel compassionate towards all living beings, we will not progress on the path very far, I don't think. So we have to learn to relate to our enemies instead of rejecting them. And of course, this begins with the way we think. And I was thinking the other day, you know, all of the political upheaval and all the division in the country, it is a perfect opportunity to grow our fortitude and our love and compassion and see a person who is just wanting happiness and not suffering just like me. And so it's so extreme right now that it can really push us into kind of doing this, reaching over to the other side, you know, whoever they are, whatever their ideas are. So it's a great ground for practice, a great ground for practice, I think. So when we set the intention to change our thoughts about them, then I think this is very doable, because all we have to do is reflect on the misery we feel when we label people as enemies. That's very painful. It doesn't feel good. Things are very out of balance when I do that. And also to open our perspective, to remember that there are other qualities. You know, that's another way to work with. Not everybody is one thing. You know, you see that with the folks that are incarcerated all the time. You know, maybe first you know about the label of what they've done, and it's like, that's horrifying. But in real time, face to face, when they start talking, and they're very kind and gentle and thoughtful and you know, want to help and are looking to change themselves, you see the fallacy of that labeling a person as one thing. You know, that's not reality ever, you know. And when we've been labeled one thing through a name or, you know, whatever, you know how painful that is. My gosh, that hurts. Yeah. So we don't want to do that. Also, maybe the first step is to remind ourselves that these people that we're having difficulty with have people in their lives that love them, that see only the positive things. And then that helps to break through this, little narrow, looking through a straw, We did the Guru Puja yesterday, and in the glance meditation on the Lam Rim there, we really get an idea of what a bodhisattva's fortitude is. So the verse is, inspire me to perfect far-reaching fortitude, so that even if all the beings of the 3 realms and 9 rebirths become angry, humiliate, criticize, threaten, or even kill me, I remain unperturbed and respond to their harm by helping them. So that's the goal. So get on it. No. So let's set our intention and utilize the practical antidotes. We start where we are, and there's so many of them. The Buddha taught so many. And so we can transform our minds and progress on this beautiful path so that we will be able to actually benefit others in such the skillful way always. And so let's work on that part.